In a quiet neighborhood, the kind of place where people waved politely and locked their doors more out of habit than fear. No one could have imagined what was unfolding behind the walls of one ordinary house. This is a story of darkness, a story that took years to uncover, a true crime case about a secret that refused to stay buried. The house stood on the corner of the street, painted white, with a small, neatly kept garden out front. Neighbors described it as utterly unremarkable. A man lived there alone after his wife had passed away. He was quiet, rarely spoke, and mostly kept to himself. Everyone just assumed he was grieving. No one asked questions. On the surface, his life was perfectly normal. He worked a regular 9-to-5 job, paid his bills on time, and never caused a bit of trouble. Something no one was ever supposed to find. The basement door was always locked, and no one, not even his few remaining family members, was ever invited inside. The first victim was someone he knew, someone who trusted him completely. The crime wasn't meticulously planned. It was a sudden, explosive act. But in the aftermath, panic took over. The basement became the keeper of his terrible secret. He cleaned every trace, scrubbed every surface, and convinced himself that he had gotten away with it. He went back to his normal life, his daily routine, as if nothing had happened. Turned into months, and months turned into years. With each passing year, his confidence grew. No one suspected anything. No one came knocking on his door with difficult questions. He was invisible. But crimes like this leave shadows. Even when they're hidden deep underground, they change a person from the inside out. Neighbors began to notice subtle shifts in his behavior. He became even more withdrawn, avoiding eye contact at all costs. He installed extra locks on his doors and security cameras around the perimeter of his property. He stopped socializing completely. Some just thought he was a strange, eccentric old man. Others felt a sense of unease around him, a chill they couldn't quite explain, but they said nothing. Then came the second incident. This time, there was more control, less panic. The act was colder, more deliberate, more calculated. Investigators later described this as the moment he crossed a significant psychological line. The basement now held more than one secret. The silence in that house grew heavier, more oppressive. His name never appeared on any suspect list. He blended perfectly into the background of society, a ghost hiding in plain sight. The case finally cracked open because of something incredibly small, almost mundane. Debt refusal. That sudden, uncharacteristic defiance raised the first real red flag. The moment they stepped into the basement, they knew something was terribly wrong. Investigators brought in specialized equipment and began to dig. What they found next shocked even the most seasoned detectives on the scene. They unearthed evidence that confirmed not one, but multiple horrific crimes. Evidence that had been meticulously hidden for years, just a few feet beneath the ground. The quiet house on the corner was no longer quiet. News of the discovery spread like wildfire. Media vans and reporters flooded the street. Neighbors stood outside in stunned disbelief, trying to process the fact that they had lived next to a monster for years. The polite waves, the quiet nods, it all seemed like a grotesque lie. During the interrogation, the man showed almost no emotion, spoke calmly, methodically, describing his actions as if he were recounting a story that happened to someone else. Experts explained this profound emotional detachment as a coping mechanism, a psychological wall he had built over years of secrecy, denial, and guilt. The trial brought the full, disturbing details to light. It revealed how the crimes had escalated, how the basement had become a twisted symbol of his power and control, and how the silence of a community had inadvertently protected him for so long. The families of the victims spoke in court, their voices trembling with pain, sharing stories of their loved ones, of the unanswered questions that had haunted them for years, and of the lives that had been stolen. In the end, justice arrived, but it was a justice long overdue. The man was sentenced to life in prison, destined to spend his remaining days behind bars. The house on the corner was sealed off, and eventually, it was demolished, erased from the landscape as if it had never existed. But for the neighborhood, the memory would never fade. It would never feel the same again. This case serves as a terrifying reminder that evil does not always look evil. Sometimes, it looks ordinary. Sometimes, it lives right next door, behind a friendly wave and a well-tended garden. And sometimes, the most powerful accomplice to darkness is silence. Thank you for watching. If you found this case as compelling as we did, please like this video and subscribe for more true crime stories. Stay safe out there.